Quarterfinals has brought us a banger of a set. We are here in game number 5. I'm glad we had everyone singing in the chat. We've got TDE versus BBZ. Winner takes all and has the opportunity to move on to the semi-finals. My name is Escape, and I'm once again joined by my boy Anti.
Hello, and I cannot believe that we've managed to get all the way to game 5. You know, we had a few people just expecting it to be a 3-0. I do believe that War Leader had anticipated a 3-0, maybe not necessarily for BBZ. That being said, this is a little bit unprecedented as BBZ had a bit of a rough start in this season. You know, TDE on the other hand, very, very strong throughout the season, only just barely dipping down into, I believe it was 3rd seed.
Yeah, I don't remember. Like it dropped a little bit off. I think they ended up fifth at the end of the season.
Hmm.
For BBZ TDE, obviously they had a really strong start to the season. They weren't able to hold on to it for as long, and here we are again. First pick blue side. We're grabbing the Lucian back to Ultravox.
Oh, baby. I mean, like, the thing is, Ultravox might not necessarily have the most practice, the most comfortable Lucian on the planet, but this
Ooh.
champion has been so pivotal this entire series. And the question is, have BBZ, like, do they have a real counter pick here with the Varus pick? Or is this Lucian priority something that neither team really anticipated? But we see the
Hey.
Varus, we do see the Tom Kench. That Tom Kench could actually just go to Tateush. It might not necessarily be going to War Leader here. So
Yeah,
keep your eyes peeled.
it's an effective flex at this point in the draft. Obviously, it does allow for some safety for Varus. Varus is a very low mobility, high damage carry, so really strong option right there,
Ooh.
regardless of what lane that's going to be in. Leaves has picked the Belveth. That is a big deal. Leaves has shown some precedent on this champion, has been really strong with it. It is not consistent, but he feels comfortable, and he's going to whip it out in this game 5.
Yeah, gonna bring it out in game 5. Now, the biggest question here is, are you really going to show off Sejuani for top lane this early on in game 5? No chance. In my mind, there's gotta be something more with that Sejuani. This could just be going to Bob Joseph.
Yeah, oh geez, great question actually. There, like obviously the Belveth has to be going into the jungle, right? Like
Yeah, I mean,
I have seen Belveth support videos and I'm nervous now because this Bob Joseph, he has the ability to pick up these crazy picks.
yeah,
I'm
and
not
don't
sure.
leave Zenzen out of it. Zenzen, a long time practicer of, the control mages, brings out very stable, very normal picks, and randomly has a Kled mid, right? Just very strange picks to just randomly have locked away, like like the Zoe, like the Kled, just things that you wouldn't expect from someone who plays a ton of Vel'Koz, right? You don't necessarily see those things all the time. Meanwhile, Mizusa not going to be picking up the Syndra for a third game in a row. But the real question is, what kind of composition are we seeing built from TDE? If it is going to be Sedge top, why are you holding on to your support pick for a counter pick this long?
Yeah, I mean, Bob Joseph does kind of, he plays a pivotal role in this team, wants to be active, wants to be able to create pressure. And even though he does have a pretty good read on the fact that that could probably be a TK support, doesn't know that, wants to be able to play around it. That would be very interesting from Dax going towards that Rammus. That's something he's been strong on very far in the past. I don't think I've seen him pull it out in a very long time, but
I mean, it's been a full
create,
season.
yeah, has been able to create ganks with it, has been able to be strong, and that is going to be the Rammus getting locked in, so that is going to be going into the jungle for Dax, unless there's some craziness going on that top lane. Zenzen looking at the auction could be a really big deal, but they know that they need to go for some ability power. They need to have some magic damage mixed in there. Asol would blow my mind.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? There's no way it's going to be Kiana here.
Ziggs,
Instead,
okay.
going to be opting for the Ziggs. Once again, a control mage. This one can outpush the Malzahar. Zenzen, once again, always going to be very strong on the control mages. This has got to be for Jaffe, right?
Yeah, this last pickup, I feel like, I mean, I don't hate the Sejuani top. It just feels really strange. The Heimerdinger, I wouldn't put it past them. They're going to lock it in. What is their composition, TDE? They're going to be playing for some craziness. Is it Sedge top?
It's got to be Sedge top. There's no chance on the planet. There's nothing in my mind that tells me anything other than screaming, this is Bob Joseph Heimerdinger support. And raise your dongers, it is time to see some mage support bot lane. Meanwhile, on BBZ, going to be taking the last second set when you have one mega tank at the front of the enemy team. This set can do wonders. Both teams, incredibly interesting team compositions to play around. Both teams, incredibly strong players to play around. Only time will tell how it goes on the Rift itself, but God, I am so glad that this is what we're getting for a Game 5 because these teams have not disappointed.
TDE is either going to make this the most interesting game we've seen in Mythic all season, or they're going to roll over and die. I don't see any way that this composition can run a fine line and come back in later stages. Obviously, Ziggs has the ability to stall really effectively. Heimer can play very, very safely. But Lucian doesn't scale into the late game that BBZ has shown them. They're playing with Varus. They're playing with Malzahar. They're playing with Rammus. Those are champions that can do some serious hurt in the later stages, especially Malzahar denying access to that Hyper Gary that Geico has put himself on. My only concern is that we've seen them pick this before, and it wasn't their strong suit. They didn't look comfortable. They didn't look like as dialed in as we've seen the Lucian so far, and they have only won with the Lucian. That's been a catalyst for their success, and it's been where they've found all of their wins so far in this in this best of 5. So is it missing going to make that big of a difference? The fact that it's on Ultravox, it is going to be Bob Joseph picking up that Heimerdinger support. This is going to be a wild one.
Yeah, I mean, one thing to note, right? Every single member of BBZ is relatively short range. Heimerdinger does so much work into short range team compositions, regardless of whether or not you're playing support. This champion really doesn't need that much gold to do a relevant amount of damage. So you have to be really careful. And the moment you can get a reset on a single person, Bel'Veth can take over those games. Bob Joseph right now going to be starting up with, oh baby, actually starting things off with the Q. It's one thing you don't actually see that much from the Heimer support, but it means that you're definitely going to have the early push. You could end up drawing the enemy jungler down, and oh my god, going to be able to get so much early vision.
So he's going to be missing the turrets for the early setup. Now, I have only seen Keria play that, or was it Beryl? I've only seen a Korean
It was both.
support. Yeah, I've only seen one of them play it. And they started off with the early turrets, and they were taking them into the bushes. They were playing for really early aggression. That is not what Bob Joseph is going for. He's trying to find some early harass, make it uncomfortable for them to get back into lane. Now, does Heimerdinger do what this composition needs? I have no idea. I haven't seen enough of this. I haven't experienced enough of this. But if they're confident enough to pull this out in game number 5, this is going to be a pivotal pick for this comp.
Yeah, I mean, Antunes wasn't able to be here today, and Antunes, master of the hook champions, we'd be seeing Nautilus, of course.
Oh my god, they had a hook onto Josh right there, just pulling him straight out of the breath. The poor boy, we're losing him. But yeah, no, obviously Antunes is a connoisseur of playing aggressive. He's had a little bit of a shift towards some more enchanters, but he's most comfortable Nautilus, Blitzcrank, Leona. He wants to be on somebody who can create picks, get the game started. We've seen a little bit of a Mumu play as well. Dax getting spotted out on that ward right now. They're going to see him go past the blue buff towards that Gromp. That looks like Dax wants to be going for a 3 camp towards the spot lane. An immediate reaction there from TDE. Are you alive? Are you here?
I am taking a bit of a sip of water, but I am back. That being said, this Heimerdinger does so much work towards the middle of this game. Right, yeah. The later...
Oh, boy,
oh goodness, it's still not stopping. Give me a bit.
Granola hits hard. I don't know if anybody's been caught in that situation. I think Granola at points can be the Scooter of foods, because it just takes that one little mistake in the operative of using it to just completely ruin your day, because that is... I feel like for some reason it just has this ability to suck the life out of you like Popeye's biscuits, and they can just cause damage forever.
Oh,
and
boy.
that's what this Heimer's been able to do so far, is consistently up there, causing problems for Geico. Look at that annoying harass. Level 2 Heimerdinger, just making that Varus uncomfortable in the lane, and it looks like TDE is comfortable to sit on these laning matchups and kind of play towards leaves falling into place in these later stages. Make that Bel'Veth a really big part of it. The Conqueror is stacked in. I'd be interested to see if we're going to see like an Iceborne. Looks like aggressive right now from War Leader. Finds that engage. Look at this from Ultravox, though, just finding the way in onto Geico. Kill's going to come through onto the Heimerdinger. First blood going over to War Leader once again, and Ultravox is going to get chased away. There's been all summoners burnt, but that is Dax in the wings right now, stunned up in front of the turret. The flash has to get burnt, and Ultravox having the initial play onto Geico is not going to serve him well. Tadeusz caught out in the top lane, should be able to just survive this one. Jaffe does have the flash available, might be able to catch him out right before the turret, but no, just going to walk out of there, no problem there. And with the CS deficit right now, Leafs might want to go aggressive and go into the jungle, but it looks like that's going to be the end of that.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to note that the longer this lane stays this way, the worse and worse it gets for BBZ, right? Because Heimer just going to continue to pick up gold with that first strike, with that, oh goodness, Spell Thief. right? And just going to continue to do that. And even into a Guardian Tom Kench, it just barely doesn't do enough damage to actually proc the Guardian, which is like that really annoying threshold, right? You know, it was actually procking your Guardian. It's like, you know what? Maybe I actually get to do something in this lane, but it's just constantly pelting away at you. You know, it's like spitballs to the back of your head. You don't want to deal with that, but it's
Yeah.
not something that you're going to lose your mind over.
Especially when there's a big Lucian sitting there, you know, just able to deal so much damage. We've seen it now. We're gonna be a little bit reliant on the Heimerdinger to deal damage. I don't know how I feel about that being picked with the Lucian. Obviously, I guess that was picked mainly as a takeaway to remove it from Geico, make sure that he couldn't play because he's been such a force on it so far this series. Today, he's finally getting to play in that top lane. So much attention from Leaves up there. And this map rotation, look at this play right now from BBZ. They don't have their jungler down here, but they're getting Dragon Control on time. And you know what? The macro has been where BBZ has been at their strongest, I feel. They're going to continue to play Vision, and they're going to keep to what's been winning them their games.
Yeah, I mean, BBZ have some brilliant minds on that team, right? You know, Geico, very, very strong when it comes to macro. You don't get to, you know, pass Diamond as an AD carry if you don't know what a macro game is, right? Yeah. You know, you can't really just rely on mechanics alone, I guess, unless you're... What, is there an AD carry in the world that does that? Draven, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
Just playing raw mechanical and getting so far ahead, but no, like, yeah, has a really good sense on him for where the game is. I have to give credit to Dax as well. Very, very capable of seeing a game state and having a good understanding of what to do. War Leader's fantastic at that as well. And this is a team full of really, really big voices. They've been able to be active, communicate really well, and in this best of 5 setting, they're really coming into their own. TDE almost has the opposite problem of not enough voices. There really isn't a lot of activity, or at least that was the case back when they had Antunes. Bob Joseph is a big voice. Looks like there might be a big effect right now, though. Mezuzah found his way into the bot lane. There's the W over the wall there from War Leader, but there's going to be no aggression, and that's just going to be time for that mid wave to get shoved in. It looks like BBZ wants to rotate to Dragon.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit interesting that Zenzen doesn't end up opting for plates, you know, considering that it's Ziggs. He got tower damage out the wazoo, but with Dragon... Oh, okay. You know, that's definitely not a bad option here. You know, a free lost chapter back is always something you're going to look to take, regardless of whether or not you can get some of that early tower damage. And now should be able to continually shove in, make sure that Mezuzah on these roams is going to be hurting so much.
Okay.
And
odd back timing there from Zenzen, because you could see the aggression right there from Leafs. Wanted to push in towards that red buff, but didn't have any of his solo laners available to actually create that invade. And look at the reaction from Dax. Knows that Leafs is on that top side, saw the bloom go down. Just gonna immediately get onto this dragon. They have the bot prio. They've got mid able to rotate. They know it's gonna take a long time for Leafs to get here, and this is once again a first dragon going over to BBZ.
Yeah, and we're seeing a lot of trends here. You know, first dragon to BBZ, first kill in the lane to War Leader. You know, first good trades going over to Tadeusz, but, you know, Jaffe on the Sejuani doesn't really need the same kind of dominance that you saw on the Irelia. And even Irelia being lane dominant, you know, wasn't necessarily something that worked out so well. You know, the Gangplank was far from lane dominant, but ended up being a huge player towards them in the late game. So, you know, if trends mean anything, this is still anyone's game.
Yeah, no, it's obviously there's almost no gold separation between both of these teams, and we'll really get to see either of these compositions come into their own. We're going to be on a little bit of a stalled game state for a little bit here. I feel like we're going to wait to see 1 to 2 items really start to roll through before either of these compositions really get to do what they want to do, which is create big fights. Have those AoE abilities come through, especially we're looking at Ziggs. We're looking at Bob Joseph really being able to chuck the ultis through into the backline, get big stuns off, get big damage. Jaffe can be such a frontline menace. And the same thing out of BBZ. So both of these teams are going to be very relaxed. They're going to try and pick up their farms. And this is going to be one of those ones where you have to look at the scoreboard for a little bit. As Dax is going to try and make a change to it right now. Flash having to be burned out of that Heimerdinger.
Ooh, yeah, big flash, but oh my god, big damage.
Yeah, a little bit discoordinated there from BBZ. I feel like if they want to commit to that, they're going to have to do it a little bit sooner. But you know what? Flash was burned. They're going to be able to take that trade. Ulti cooldowns being traded back and forth as well. Zenzen's just going to continue to be a menace in this mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, that lost chapter back does so much work for Zenzen.
It really does.
You know, having the extra little bit of AP as well means that you can just out-push this Malzahar no matter what. This is just trying to survive, but that tower damage means a lot.
He's just looking so good in this top lane. He's been such a good addition to the team right now as the Ignite does get burned out. Ultravox should be able to live through that. No!
Whoa!
It ticks him down! And that is going to be, I don't know where the engage came from. There's no chain of corruption available. It's just a Q being found. He has Flash, has heal, but he just gets caught out.
Straight
doesn't
up?
burn either of them and doesn't respect the TK damage. Both summoners available and that Lucian goes down.
Yeah, I mean, Ultravox did not anticipate that to really kill. And okay, so I have played with War Leader for many a year. You know, Escape with me as well. Man is very, very smart, but there is nothing on planet Earth that can convince me that that was fully calculated. Meanwhile, Lee's on the other hand going to be able to calculate exactly the right time to pick up that Herald, and Belveth with Herald. Oh, baby. Love how amazingly designed this champion is.
Yeah, so this is where TDE needs to start taking control. This is when they are at their strongest, is when they have this really powerful Belveth on the map. Probably going to take these 2 camps, maybe 3, get that recall off, pick up some items, and then create pressure with this. And they need that right now. They're falling across the map. They haven't been able to generate really anything outside of mid lane, which is about going even. Props to Mizuza for just being able to sit there comfortably. Both of these players, very, very good in the mid lane. But that is where this composition is centralized from TDE, is around that Belveth pick. They were able to grab the Rift Herald. Where are they going to put it? Are they going to try and focus on this bot lane? They're going to try and crack something with Ziggs. I like it.
Yeah, I was about to say, you got to put this mid lane when you got a Ziggs on the team. Belveth plus Ziggs means tower taking city. You know, it doesn't matter how much health this tower had. You have Heimerdinger as well. You know, with this, Belveth should be able to do so much damage. You might be able to one-shot it with a Ziggs bomb soon.
Yeah, no, it's very, very close. I don't see it being impossible for Zen to be able to pick that up in the coming minutes. It just wasn't able to get close enough because the Rammus would there, had the flash, had the ulti available. And I think that's wise to just play safe. But they were able to grab 3 plates. That's gold to Bob Joseph and to Leaves. And Leaves is going to be able to back relatively soon and finish up what's going to be, I'd imagine, a Kraken Slayer off of that. I don't imagine we're going for Gale Force, which is going to leave him vulnerable in team fights. I'm very surprised he hasn't gone for one of the tank mythics.
Yeah, I mean, might not have been going for one of the tank mythics, but Leaves always looking to go for something a little bit more aggressive, right? You know, when you have something that you could build tanky, but you could
flash forward from Geico.
Hold on.
They have the Rammus in the wings. Bob Joseph have been caught out. Leaves is going to try and join right now. The flash is still there for the Lucian. Has to burn it to try and get out of there alive. And that is just going to be the 1 kill onto Bob Joseph.
Yeah, and these kills just continuing to come out onto Bob Joseph. You know, just a little bit too far forward, a little bit too confident. And BBZ is just calling his bluff on repeat.
Yeah, and it has to be in your head right now as TDE. When you see that scoreboard, it starts to get a little bit nerve-wracking. Are we too far behind already? It's 12 minutes, 3 kills. What does that actually mean? And if you start thinking those thoughts, you're already lost the game. But it is no chance right now for Zen. Still has that flash available, doesn't even want to burn it. He knows that there's no way out of there, and it's just going to fall to Mizuza. And as these plays start to rack up, you're on game 5. You just lost the previous game. BBZ has the momentum. It's really important to not get in your own head about it, and Bob Joseph doesn't seem to be falling victim to that at all, trying to go aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, leave it to Bob Joseph to always find some kind of aggressive angle, whether or not it's the right or wrong decision. Mizusa just gonna try to help out the team as much as possible, but dear lord, Bob Joseph, you are level 6.
Great block there with the turret to get rid of the tongue lash. He's just able to walk away from that. Once again, Lee's trying to find some aggression onto the TK right now, but it is 2v4 for the moment. They seem to not at all interested in trying to help War Leader. Has to burn his flash to get out of there right now. Reset on the Dragon is going to give more time for Zen and Ultravox to answer this. There's some brawling in the top lane right now. Neither of those TPs are going to be used to join this fight. 4K now, and they're looking like they're trying to turn right now. Dashes straight into the Abyssal Voyage there for the ulti!
Huge!
Zen from a mile away is able to swing the fight right now. It's 1-for-1. Low HP bar onto Dax right now. Has to still be looking for the steal, but he doesn't have Smite. Geico looking for the miracle play, but it is going to be Dragon going over in a 1-for-1.
Oh my lord, it was looking so good for BBZ. A beautiful Abyssal Voyage from War Leader in order to knock up Leaves early on in the fight, but it doesn't amount to enough. You know, that bomb from Zen just absolutely turns the entire fight. You get the resets on Leaves, you get the damage, you force Dax to run away, burning an early smite, and just like that, TDE might have been on the back foot as far as kills, but as far as gold's concerned, they've always been just barely behind.
Once again, we're even back up at dragons. This seems to be the consistent trend of these games, and it's really about who is able to break this right now. Hextech Soul is going to be lined up, so there's going to be lots of activity available. Did I miss a kill in the top lane right now? It looks like Dax was able to find a window onto Jaffe right there, and TDE's finding a good answer. There's no flash available. Jaffe's just going to go straight down.
Yeah, I mean, when you've got point-and-click CC on point-and-click CC, it's pretty hard to outplay that. And Mezusa right now, speaking of which, going to be getting a little bit outplayed on.
Look at this, he's caught between two turrets. Where does he go?
So much point-and-click damage.
Yeah, there's just damage on either side of him right now. Trying to burn the ulti, but it goes wide. Leaves is trying to chase this right now. War Leader is there with the Devour if he needs it. Leaves with the flash forward, but the dodge from War Leader, keeping his mid lane alive by missing out on the CC himself. Devour is there. Now there's a TP trying to find his way onto Leaves, who gets out at the last second. And it's just going to be a kill found on the Bob Joseph on the side right now. He has no way out of there. How did Leaves survive?
That was actually insane. Another one of those escapes that is just, you know, pixels, frames, just tiny microcosm, like micro moments that could really change how the flow of this game is going. It might be 1-7, but it's so close. Ultravox on the back foot, still trying to run away under tier 2. Oh boy.
Look at this from BBZ. I really like this. They're committing 4 people down, trying to deny the gold right now. Zenzen is there. They see the level of danger that they're in, but Zenzen doesn't have flash. He had to burn that getting away from Dax really recently, but they're able to get out alive. Ulti getting burned
Huge
down.
flash.
Zenzen's going to be the first to fall. War Leader gets out on a sliver of HP. Also going down is Ultravox. Double kill to Geico, and this game is starting to fall into the clutches of BBZ.
Yeah, and oh my lord, War Leader with these Abyssal Voyages have been so unbelievably good. I cannot believe how in the world this guy's so accurate with this. Like, it's like someone needs to check this guy's computer. That's not natural. That's just not okay. This guy's actually so unbelievably talented, and he's not even a support main.
Yeah, he's just rolled into this position. He's feeling comfortable. He's got a really good sense for how the game works, and you know what? It's put him in a good spot time and time again. Once again, though, TDE turning their focus back towards this Rift Herald. This is how they were able to even up the gold earlier. They still have the Ziggs. They still have the Heimerdinger. This is how they want to play the game. And if they can utilize that Rift Herald to find some turrets in the top lane, that is a lot of strength that they have available to them. And we'll see if that's going to be the play that they're going to opt into. But right now, BBZ is just on to collection mode. Looks like they're going to try and predict the play in the top lane preemptively there. Geico making a big rotation up, but it's not going to happen. Tateusz is just bullying off this poor Lucian. I don't think there's a way that they can pick up the kill on this set right now. They've got 3 people answering. There's the ulti coming down, having to dodge back away from it. Does still have the full charge on the W, but it does not connect. Tateusz a little bit caught out, trying to use Bob Joseph to get out of here. The ultimate was burnt out of the Ziggs, but it's going to be the first strike tick to pick him off. And now here's the option right now. Jaffe's trying to clear out in the top lane, but he's going to fall. It's 4 members committed to either side, but there is a Baron, or excuse me, there is a Rift Herald and an empowered Bel'Veth. I don't think you want to take this, BBZ.
It's not just an empowered Bel'Veth, it's a Bel'Veth Ziggs. And Bel'Veth, Ziggs, and Heimerdinger is probably the most disgustingly powerful 3-man composition that you could ask for as far as taking towers goes. Oh my lord, this tower's also gone.
Tower's also gone. There's the reaction from BBZ. They were able to pick up on that, so they're going to just take 1 turret across map. That is a 1-for-1 on the top laners, plus 2 turrets going over to the side of TDE. But Zenzen, last to recall, might get caught out. Leaves is still in the wings, though. Right now, it is just Dax available. Great cancel there with the satchel charge.
Yeah, I mean, even manages to burn.
Tateusz is here, too.
Oh?
No Aatrox appearing from the bush this time. We're all good. Panic averted.
Yeah.
20 seconds to Dragon.
I mean, Tateusz this time around doesn't have the dashes over walls, you know, can't really have the huge surprise effect that we saw from the Aatrox flanks in the last game, and Jaffe can match with the teleports this time around. And the question is, who is going to be able to pick up this dragon? Hextech gates mean so many people can get so many places around the map as quickly as they can, but you see Ultravox on the top side. You can't really contest this.
Yeah, and it looks like TDE is rightly going to play to their comp. Here we go. They are playing towards these turrets. They know where their strength is. They know how their comp is designed to work. They're going to give up Dragon number 2 right there. Obviously, a little bit of ability haste, a little bit of attack speed given over, but they're going to pressure on this top turret. And you know what? It doesn't feel that risky, but if they leave these champions alone in the top lane, those turrets are going to get deleted.
Yeah, I mean, Dax able to get a little bit of a flank going, but Jaffe a
Jaffe going a
little
bit
too far
aggressive
forward.
right now. Here comes the CC chain coming in, and the chains of corruption as well. There's the ulti over the top from Zenzen. Jaffe flashing away, unable to live though. There's 3-4 members here though. It is a 4v3 available. Geico flashing over the wall, trying to get on the Bob Joseph. Look at the aggression from Ultravox. Picks up the kill and is now going to try and turn on to Dax right now. War Leader desperately trying to escape. There's a kill over 2 leaves, and Tadeusz is just pushing off in the side lanes. There's no answer. There's no help coming. War Leader just having to rely on W's and movement speed, and that might be enough to get him out of there alive. It is 2 kills apiece going over.
Oh my lord, it looked so good for BBZ, you know, able to get that pick onto Jaffe, but Jaffe able to just throw out the ultimate at the very last second, stalled just barely long enough for his team to catch up. Tadeusz able to pick up a tower in response, but the longer this game goes, the more and more terrified you have to be as BBZ. Because, you know, while, yes, you output so much damage in the late game, yes, you can totally just counter the Bel'Veth in terms of damage in a team fight really easily in the late game. Yes, you know, you might have, you know, a phenomenal team fighting composition. This is Bel'Veth and Ziggs. No matter how late in the game it gets, you could instantly find yourself losing.
And it's going to be really reliant on Zenzen. We have to make sure, if you're TDE, if you're Zenzen, you have to make sure that you do not drop another death on that Ziggs. Ziggs can hold this game at a stalemate for so long and get this game into a state where TDE feels comfortable. If you lose that Ziggs, that's never going to happen. And right now, Bob Joseph may be caught out of position. Leaves is there, though. This is potentially a bait. Dax just going to try and retreat out of there. Don't want to burn any cooldowns with this Baron right there and ready for the taking.
Yeah, and Dax very, very close to one of the biggest power spikes for Rammus in the game. You know, if you're playing top lane, you want to be able to finish that Thornmail early on, because that turns it from doing a tiny bit of on-hit damage to scaling off of your armor. And with the Aftershock, with the W, you know, Rammus can absolutely shred champions like Bel'Veth in an instant.
Lane assignments just aren't there right now from TDE. That's been really, really good, keeping Mezuzah in these sideways, just being able to consistently pick up gold, consistently pick up XP, and it's giving him a lead over the mid lane. But Jaffe just felt like he was in the wrong lane for a really long time there, and as a result, that the pressure came through from Mezuzah, and now they have options to move towards this this Baron as BBZ. And it's not even a lack of TPs, it's just not playing with it correctly, and the double TP has really been favoring BBZ. Last game, because there were none from TDE, but this game, just a knowledge gap. They're playing it better.
Yeah, I mean, you've said it before, right? BBZ, incredibly, incredibly good when it comes to macro. You know, Geico, very, very smart player, and Dax and War Leader, absolutely no slouches. Tadeusz, a little bit more of an unknown for this team. Not to rag on Tadeusz at all, just very much a newcomer to this team. Just kind of came in for playoffs, or right now, essentially. And man has absolutely been putting up a banger performance, going toe-to-toe with legends like Jaffe, you know, who have been long-standing, you know, some of the best top laners in the league.
Let's keep in mind the variety of players that we have in this league and remind ourselves of the fact that Jaffe was the first pick in the draft league. All right. So you may be looking at some players here and seeing some really, really high ranks, people who have peaked at really strong places, people who have consistent performances. And the league knows the power of Jaffe because everyone else was ignored. And as the fact that Jaffe is, it's just always been an option, the fact that Tadeusz is standing up to him this well in his first season of FOF, let's not forget. Newcomers don't often settle in quite well here. It's a difficult league to really set your footing in, but he's been able to do it so far. He's looking really good right now for BBZ in the Mythic League for his first time. It looks like they're looking for this Baron play. Obviously, I think if Leaves is able to collect the Baron, collect the Void Crystal that comes from it, it's going to be so hard to defend. BBZ has to force a fight. They don't have great tools to do that with. So we've been doing this Baron dance for almost 5 minutes now. I think that's going to continue. Bob Joseph, a little bit out of position. There's a flash over the wall. Look at the chain here from Mezuzah. Bob Joseph is going to fall, but he did get the ultimate down. Dax is getting ticked down from all the magic damage. Mezuzah is going to fall. 800 gold picked up. No, Dax will go down too. He's getting shredded. So look at Ultravox fighting onto Geico. He's able to pick up that kill as well. Dax goes down. It's 2 versus 3. Leaves is going to try and find an option on TDE right now. He's getting stunned up and taken down. This belt
so much damage
ripping through BBZ, and they're going to move on towards that mid turret. The tower taking is there. Dragon is on the map. TDE strikes back.
Man, we're just sitting back, just talking about how the game needs to be stalled out, how, you know, TDE doesn't want too much to happen here. Meanwhile, Bob Joseph just continuing to walk up, continuing to be as crazy as possible, gets flashed on and leaves, walks into the back line. Yes, Bob Joseph does go down early. Ultravox and Geico with an early 1v1 means that Leaves just gets to rack up so much damage on the back line, just demolishing everyone in his path. I cannot believe that the Bel'Veth does this much damage to a Rammus with Thornmail completed.
Yeah, she's just shredding. Like, she's got all that attack speed available. She was able to reset, get herself started off of the Malzahar. And now, right now, Jaffe's caught underneath the turret. Zenzen's trying to set himself up, but he's taken very low from the turret shot. Does have that W available and will be able to pick things up. That is going to be Dragon going over to the side of TDE to even things back up once again in terms of the count. That is turret picked up, and all of a sudden the gold swings back again.
Oh Lord, and you said yourself, right, Zenzen needs to find a way how to not drop another death, and this man has stayed alive for such a long time that it's getting so hard to see how BBZ reaches the Ziggs.
Okay, so what they have right now is they're looking for playing for Jaffe in the side of the waves right now. Bob Joseph got the Baron started up immediately. Leaves is not here yet, though. Dax is over the wall. There's room for a rotation. They have to respect this. They've drawn a lot of members of BBZ over. They do see TDE on the bot side right now. They know that Jaffe is missing the TP, and they're still choosing not to pressure. He's going to have that rotate available. There is the teleport. Now BBZ is going to try and force their way into this Baron pit. You know what? They're missing the health bars. Leaves is not there. Are they going to try and take this for themselves right now, BBZ? No, just going to try and move away.
They absolutely could attempt something like that, you know, had they known Leaves is in the bot lane. But, you know, with the Malzahar, you can tank up that Baron damage with those Void lanes.
Oh, Bob Joseph. Okay.
Oh, eBay. This guy just gets in and does not care how early or how late his team can be to the fight. You know, just always looking for something crazy, regardless of the game state.
Okay. Mezuzah's a little bit caught out of position right now. Does have to burn that blast. Going to try and get out of here right now. Jaffe's going to try and take this duel to TDE. You tell me right now, top lane expert, who's winning right now in that bot lane?
I mean, it should be Jaffe if he plays these fights properly, but you know, TDE is playing so well, just continuing to do so much damage. And oh my, can someone honestly just like take a Bob Joseph and
hold on, flash
get him
forward
as a
right now
case
from
study?
Geico. They're gonna find the engage onto Zenzen. He's gonna get exploded and taken off the map. There's no one there to answer. Leaves is in the middle of 3. There's no way he's gonna be able to find a way out of there. That is 2 picked off. What an initiation from Geico, and the immediate turn for BBZ to go to that Baron.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about bot lane here, but now the true bot lane are gonna come up out of the fog of war. Was a flash over the wall?
It's just a flash to the side to be able to pick up the chance of corruption. Just a little bit disrespect there. And the immediate turn from BBZ, all on the same page. You can hear him screaming from here. And that is 2 kills picked up. The Baron taken off the map. These two teams have been fighting over it so intensely. And now it's in the hands of BBZ. What can they do with it?
Yeah, it's a real big question. I mean, Zenzen, a very calm player, very calm and collected person. But I don't care how calm of a person you are, you're absolutely screaming after that one, because that is terrifying. And the entire Baron now at risk here. A single Heimerdinger stands in the way.
Yeah, it's 4K right now. Dax is not over the side of the wall right now. It's too low to try and threaten it. Now he is there. They're going to try and finish it off. And yes, has been grabbed up. The stun is there. Ultravox adds himself to the kill bounty as well as Bob Joseph.
Oh my God.
Greedy, trying to save that Baron play. 2 versus 5. And now BBZ with the empowered wave is going to try and make their way onto the top side.
Yeah, I mean, a huge Super Mega Inferno Bomb coming out from Zen Zen. Be able to
Leader
clear a
again.
lot of the wave.
Finds a way in, but here comes the
Oh.
reset from Leafs. That's already picked off 2. Has that Void Crystal available and is going to be able to pick it up. So that's 2 Barons gone down. Trade 1 for 2 there. No, didn't even trade.
Yeah. I mean, the only ones traded were the players who ended up dying at the Baron early on. And that's 2 Barons off the map, off of 2 very important members.
Yeah, and that's going to be QSS picked up for Leaves. I like that. They have options to shut you down. You need to have ways to live through it. It isn't going to be a Ghost Cleanse game. Obviously, on the jungle, you have a little bit of restriction on your summoner spells. But it's, you know, do the best that you can. What I'm concerned about is that Leaves has to play for cleanup right now. Like, you just have to. And he doesn't have the tank stacks to make it to the end of the fight. So it means that the rest of TDE has to set him up. And we've seen what happens when Leaves get set up. But is that going to be a consistent feature of their team fighting? It hasn't been necessarily. Geico finding that a fantastic engage without Flash, though, as we're rolling towards this dragon.
And one thing to note is that Bob Joseph is slowly getting closer and closer to what I believe is going to be a Rylai's Crystal Scepter. And oh my god!
Gets exploded! Dax is taken very, very low. Suppression getting removed there. It's going to be 1 kill going over to Leaf, but the Chain of Corruption is going to be enough to take him down. No, he dashes over the wall! Geico can't find the kill. Dax is getting zoned off. Jaffe gonna protect his team. War Leader getting taken very, very low. The culling getting soaked up by that shield, by the gray health, and by a sliver of health. No, gets taken down. Leaves with a Void Crystal available. Has no. Tadeusz finds the kill, but somehow TDE cleans it up. Jaffe with a heroic play onto the back line.
Oh my god, Bob Joseph. It does not matter how far behind this man is. 0-7 on the Heimerdinger. Still sitting in a bush, looks for a play, manages to take out Mezusa with the ult W, manages to set up for this inhib take. And this is what I was talking about earlier. You have to be so careful around the Ziggs, because the smallest of openings could mean your base is gone.
They're immediately making this rotation towards the Baron. I don't know if they're going to be able to kill it before Dax can get there. Obviously, Rammus, very, very fast champion. They're going to try and start it up, though. They do see him in the mid lane right now. The assumption is that this hasn't been started. It has to be. Otherwise, you'd be checking this. This is a TP in the mid lane. That could indicate it. There's no movement from BBZ. They're going to give this dragon over, and that is turret, 4 kills. Dragon picked up TDE in the driver's seat of this game.
Yeah, sole point and sole possession of the flow of the game right now. Is Ultravox is going to be able to pick up that QSS, going to be able to pick up as many defensive options as possible. And oh my god, Bob Joseph on the Heimerdinger. You know, it was a little bit of a concern coming into this that TD didn't have one of their all-star supports. You know, you were saying that Jaffe was the first person picked up in Captain's Draft. Another one of the first people picked up was Antunes, who's the usual support for TDE. But Bob Joseph, no slouch, has played many a game with Zen Zen, with Ultravox, and with Leaves in the past. Was Jaffe on TDE before?
Jaffe was not. No, Jaffe got picked up.
No, it was Mezusa and
top lane. Yeah.
Mezusa. Every single member of last season's TDE is on the screen right now.
There's no kidding. Actually, that's a storyline that we've somehow completely ignored, is the fact that this is Mezusa versus his former team. The energy, the intensity that these two bring to one another, there is not like a friendly rivalry there. There is a little bit of bad blood, and right now, Bob Joseph might be finding himself in a pool of one right now as he gets picked off randomly, just too deep warding, and that is not going to give necessarily a big objective opportunity, but it's going to force TDE to sacrifice some waves, play on the back foot for a little bit.
Yeah, meanwhile, in the bot lane, Jaffe continuing to struggle into Tadeusz's set. So much damage, just always coming out, and Set more than happy to brawl with these super tanks.
What? What happened to the top lane? They found a way in. They've been able to kill Mezusa on the rotate here. Let's see how they do it. Zen able to walk up, play aggressive, burns the spell shield, and leaves it just there. Mezusa with no way out. They pick up the kill onto the BBZ mid laner, but they've left Lucian alone to try and hold that mid lane turret. That isn't going to happen. BBZ trying to immediately cross-map this into the mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, they might be cross-mapping, and while they did manage to pick up that kill, dropping that Super Mega Inferno Bomb into the top lane as well, because you can't do the classic Ziggs thing where you make one play happen somewhere and keep another play from happening another where. Zen Zen is slowly getting to the point of doing unspeakable amounts of damage, but you still have to make sure to stay alive because this Ziggs is as squishy as Jello.
Yeah, he's doing his best right now. There is so much damage available right now. Level 17 on both of those two main carries from TDE right now. They are scaling up as aggressively as they can, and the fact that Mizzou's been down for most of this Baron setup has given them Siege of the River of all places right now. TDE wants that, and if they can pick it up again, it is such a powerful siege. I don't see any way that they could hold. Looks like there's going to be some attempted aggression right there from Dax. Both these teams playing on a nice edge.
Yeah, I mean, Zen Zen just gonna get tickled in the toesies, but that tickle hurts quite a bit. Big chunk of health onto the Ziggs, who has no way of healing
available
that
right
back
now.
up.
Geico tries to pick off Ultra Box. The engage comes through. Here comes
Bob
Dax,
Joseph
trying to get in there. The immediate damage, though. Bob Joseph has been removed from the fight. There's no health bars really looking too scary right now from BBZ. Geico taken very low on the back line. Here comes the re-engage from Dax, trying to pick up the kill. Leaves Ghost down. Here comes the engage. War Leader gets canceled in the back line. Can't find his way in now. Jaffe's trying to turn. Low HP bars across the board. Zen trying to chase back. Jaffe flashing forward, but he doesn't have the dive in available. Geico taken so low. The Devourer has been burnt. There's health bars on the side of TE, but they're missing mana. Mizuza is the entirety of the pool for BBZ, and they are forced to turn away again.
Oh my god, and every single fight on a nice edge. War Leader, with that Devour, with that early Devour, actually incredibly smart decision. Got a little bit of that early, movement speed in order to get away from Jaffe, just barely pixels away from that Sejuani flash. Like, I cannot believe the War Leader had the presence of mind to do that. And Geico surviving till the very end of that fight, continuing to pump out damage. Tadeusz able to get a humongous haymaker straight through the middle of the enemy team. And yet it's still so close on either side. Bob Joseph going down early in these fights means so little when you can still plop down an ultimate and plop down a turret, and that'll still continue to do damage after you died.
TP coming in. That's exactly what I was worried about, though, was the lack of tankiness from Leaves. Here comes Jaffe meeting straight up with Dax. Bob Joseph trying to find some damage onto Tadeusz. It is at 5 versus 5. We're going straight back into it again. Ult over the top. Geico gets taken down to half HP, but so does Jaffe. Tadeusz low in the front line right now, and he gets picked off immediately. Dax dives in, but he's by himself. Geico being forced to try and take out of there by War Leaders, trying to get his ADC out alive. Ultravox chases so aggressively, but he takes the Malzahar ulti, gets taken down. Leaves looking aggressive, trying to find a way in onto the backline of BBZ. It is 4v3, and they're going to try and turn towards this Baron right now. Zen trying to play the poke game. Soul is up soon, and they have changed their mind. They're going to try and play for that long-lasting buff. Use it to buff themselves up, get themselves the position to try and win this game. BBZ is not going to give it up easily, though. Jaffe trying to find a way
the top side.
Nearly gets picked off, but Jaffe's so low himself, he don't know if he can continue to make that play. Having to walk his way out of there as Leaves is going to be the solo proponent onto this dragon. That will be Soul picked up for TDE.
No jungler on the side of BBZ. No chance of a steal. Meanwhile, BBZ just walking over to Baron, looking to see if they can make a play here.
Joseph. Good check there with the W, not getting too aggressive right now. Geico having to walk out of there. They don't know that Mizusa's still in that bush, trying to use the ulti to get some damage down. There we go. Then they see the Malzahar wander on out of there. They've got resetting members as Ultravox is going to walk back onto the map. As we have a moment to relax, both these teams have a chance to catch their breath as we move towards the potential of this Baron.
Yeah, and I've been saying it time and time again, right? If you lose a single team fight as BBZ in the wrong way, you could find yourself losing the entire game immediately. That being said, the closer and closer we get to these, 70,000, 80,000 gold, power points, it doesn't matter what you have on your team, you might lose the entire game for losing a clean team fight.
Yeah, it's so devastating. But, at this point in the game, death timers can get to be so long. It looks like TD is just going to try and make this happen right now. Today's just in the bot lane right now. Mizusa without the teleport available. He's still stuck in the base right now. Tried to use that reset to their advantage as this is dying faster and faster and faster. Dax is going to try and steal. Goes over to the side of TDE, and Dax is on the wrong side of this fight right now. Bob Joseph a little bit caught out right now, but he has the ability to use these turrets. Leaves, finds a way in onto Mizusa. He's into the back line. He's going to use the resets to try and find these kills.
What an ulti!
One onto War Leader. Gets picked off Jaffe with such an important ulti, and like you say, it could only take a few deaths. There are Barons, there are empowered Belvis, there is Ziggs. There is no way BBZ is going to be able to hold this.
And just like that, TDE, after so much fighting, after so much time, effort, and
Geico's on the
they've
side. Are they going to be able to find a way in onto him, or is he just going to be able to poke from the side? He's trying to be forced out to recall right now as they're just deathballing in. They don't have the AoE to deal with this. Dax, moment, trying to find a way through, but the damage is so big from Leaves. He's going to be able to heal up off the Void Crystal. Low health bars on the turret. Geico with a hope and a prayer. He cannot do it. Quarterfinals has never been so hyped. TDE in 5 games.
And just like that, Bob Joseph, the prodigal son, coming home, you know, despite the early deaths given up, despite all of it in the end, still going to be able to look for every single one of those incredibly, incredibly impactful plays, able to essentially carry the impact of this series, the flow of this game. And Mezusa maybe kicking himself in the butt, not able to join the ranks of the homies here who are moving on. TDE in 5 games gonna be taking that quarterfinal series.
What a ridiculous series. Lucian keeps his win rate up at 4-1 between these two teams. It was absolutely insane. And I think we're all thinking the same thing right now. We want to know what's going on in the mind of Bob Joseph. Well, we're gonna give him to you, so make sure you stick around for that interview.
Hello, friends. It is Chris Edgeworth returning to you as the interviewer today. After a little bit of a hiatus, we had the Mythic League break week. We had the quarterfinals match on Monday, and now we have a massive banger coming out to you, a 5-game series burning all the midnight oil literally on the East Coast, as we have Bob Joseph joining us here for the interview after that series. How are you feeling after that monumental win?
Oh, I'm feeling it's just a nice, easy series. Not really close, quick 3-0, in and out.
Yeah,
Day's work.
yeah. That's exactly how it went for sure.
hmm
Definitely, no other things happened there. Let's dive right into it. I do want to start, of course, with the triumphant return. Unlucky that Antunes could not be with us, but his unluckiness is your favor in this case, as we see the return, the triumphant return, literally for you, Bob Joseph, returning to friend or foe. How's it feel to be back on the Rift with us?
It's great. I've missed playing. I was the best support in the league. I took a break. I'm still the best support in the league, so not too bad. Antunes, he did all the hard work. He got through the regular season, and I'm here to claim all the glory. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I mean that's really how you gotta do it. You just let the
It's more
chump.
efficient this way.
Exactly. You let the chump take all the blows, waste all their time, get you into playoffs, and you're just like, all right, thanks for playing, kid. We'll catch you next time. But it is really excellent that TDE, without having Antunes, able to rely on you, call you back in, and of course, as you say, your words, the best supports in friend or foe. I mean, it's hard to argue with how this series went. And I also want to take a moment here to tip our hat to the war leader on the other side, on the other support role. Not typically his role, played really well in this series.
He
And
was doing some really annoying stuff. Like that Tarek game, we weren't ready for Tarek at all, and then there was a Tarek flashing out of a bush all the time at me. So yeah, that he definitely played well.
yeah, it was a really excellent series. Let's chronicle this a little bit. The first game, I will just say for posterity's sake, I did have the TDE 3-0 jotted down in my death note. You folks did end up with the win, but my original prognosis was we were going to see one really strong like back and forth game one, and I thought that maybe BBZ was going to lose steam after that. So game one did have that kind of air to it. It was a very back and forth tempo. In that, lots of brawling, lots of fighting. You guys did kind of almost run it at the end a little bit.
hmm
But the strike back in game two, you guys had that nutty level one catch on Dax, on Dak, or yeah, on Dax, and like what was your feelings going into game two with that nutty lead, and how were you folks able to bounce back, given that you guys didn't end up winning that game? What was the conversation like coming out of game two and getting ready for game three, knowing that you folks had sort of fumbled the ball on that one?
Yeah, so to be frank, game one, we got a really good front to back team fighting comp, and then game two, we decided to not get any of those good front to back team fighting comp things. So we had a rumble, we had no front line, it was terrible. For that level one play, the entire time we were seeing that bush, I was telling my mid laner Zinzin that he was stupid and that this was too cheesy, this is way too cute of a play. And then the jungler just face checked us and we got a double kill at level one. So, uh,
Yeah, if
you
I'm
know,
remembering correctly, like Leaves was just like sort of low key, just like dancing and or like just going
yeah,
back and forth in mid lane, just like la di da, look at me, I am the jungler.
yeah.
And then you guys actually got the catch on the two kills early, so that sets the table for game three, which was a bit of a barn burner. Mizusa was really popping off. We saw the strength of the updated Syndra coming in this series. For the two games that Mizusa got his hands on it, it was kind of crazy. In that game three, we were keeping track of the shards. We were watching the stacking happening. At a certain point, that buckshot E that she now has, plus
hmm
all the other scaling, is kind of nuts. But In the end, you folks had the Jaffe, the best pirate we've ever heard of, coming out with the late game GP. We saw the nutty 1200 damage barrels coming out at the end of that game. So what were your thoughts in that game, considering that you were up against a carry who was really feeling themselves and popping off, but you folks were able to play to that win condition of the GP?
Okay, here's my problem with Game 3. Game 3, we've got this useless top laner. He's 1 in 4. He's feeding the whole game, just clicking minions, doesn't participate in any fights. And then he gets a pentakill, and now everybody's talking like he carried the whole game. That guy played the last 40 seconds of the game, and that's it. That's all he did was the pentakill, and we ended. I mean, it was great.
I think
He
it
did a
was
great
like, I
job,
don't think it's legit like
he was
0-4.
literally 1 in 4
Yeah, there
until
you
he
go.
got a pentakill in the last 2 minutes of the game. So I don't know if he hard carried that one, but he did what he needed to at the end. He did insane damage as Gangplank, and I am a Gangplank hater, but that was illegal what he did at the end of that game.
You know, I'm sorry. First of all, I just have to say this, but you know, what is do you know what a pirate's favorite letter is?
Um, Is it G? His name starts with a G.
Try again.
Is it R?
You would think it's R, but it's actually the C.
This.
Sorry, I had to get that out because that was the thing I wanted to say was that it was the classic top lane GP in your game that doesn't type ever. He only just uses his ultimate when you ping. He just drops the ultimate. He's like, I'm playing my game. You can do whatever the fuck you want down there. I'm not gonna come to your fight. So that brings us into game 4, which was, you know, the match point for you folks. And that was a pretty nuts game. Again, Mazuza showing us the Syndra things. That was a pretty brutal. And then Dax with the Udyr just sort of running rampant over there. Sets up the game 5, the match point all around, the silver scrapes. What was your feelings in game 4 and then getting ready for this final game?
Yeah, so game 4, Udyr has a CC immunity, and that's not okay. That should be removed from the game. We should just get rid of that. So that character just, once he got some gold under his belt, he just sprinted at us. But game 4 is when we realized that this AD carry player is pretty good, and on Lucian, he can 1v9 us. So we've got to stop him from being Lucian. Like, the Lucian priority shot up in this series, just because we really didn't love playing it, but they were using it so well that we had to get rid of it. Since they were using double AD carry bans on us, like our answers for the Lucian, they were just getting rid of both of those and then first picking it. So yeah, game 4, the Lucians, we just really identified it there. And so going into game 5, we knew, okay, we got to take this blue side. We have to go take blue side and take Lucian first pick.
That is certainly one thing that I wanted to touch on about the draft cadence in this game, in this series, was that what the Lucian priority was absurd. And as you touched on, you know, it was a part of how the pool was shaping up with things being banned out with people's priorities on what they want to play. And that does bring us to game 5. We saw so many different Lucian combos coming through in this series. It's normally, if you see it in pro play, it's literally Lucian Nami, the end. There's nothing really else to see there, but in Friend or Foe, in this series, we were able to see multiple different things. We saw Braum, Tarek, we saw your
Nami, Heimerdinger.
Yeah, exactly. So that brings us to the Heimerdinger, of course. Talk to me a little bit, if you would, about the thought on this final draft, where, of course, you bring out the dark technology of the Heimerdinger in your hands, and finally unleashed is leaves with the Belveth, banned for 4 games, comes out in the 5th game. How were you folks feeling with this draft, the way that it shaped up?
Yeah, so start of the series, we got a great team fighting, front to back comp. That's exactly how we wanted to play. And then, for some reason in the middle, my top laner and my jungle said, we don't play tanks anymore. But in the 5th game, the light shined down through the gray sky, and my top laner said, hey, I could play Sejuani. Sejuani's really good with Belveth. And I was just like, well, yeah, why haven't we been doing this the entire series? That champion's OP. We can have a front line? We can team fight? That sounds amazing. So we just get to slam, since they shifted to that Gangplank ban. Again, Jaffe did a great job on the Gangplank, drew a ban in the first rotation, which freed up the Belveth Sejuani combo, which was really, really strong for us. So yeah, just having that going into that game, then I get to 5th pick, and I lock in Heimerdinger for reasons unbeknownst to me or my team. But here's the thing. Let's talk about the Heimerdinger. Because
Let's rap for a
hypothetically,
second. Go for it.
I may have gone 0-9. Maybe. But if any astute watchers were looking at that game, I did more damage than the enemy AD carry, than my AD carry, than the set who was just beating on a top lane tank the entire game. I was blasting people. Okay? The Heimerdinger's value, hypothetically I died a couple times in the jungle, but we could see and the enemies died, okay? That's Heimerdinger's job. I zoned so much off of the engages that Ziggs could just go wild throwing grenades.
And
So that's
yeah.
Mhm.
I was just gonna say, of course, that's the key here. You had the Rylai Andrews, and we were noting it on the cast. I mean, you're just poking these guys out constantly. You had the long range finder with the W that was able to late game scout out their little try to death brush when they were down to their most desperate measures. But yeah, you were just able to get lots of poke damage out. You know, at the end, even if you're 0-9, you know, you just get to type that better support wins and just, you know, catch that LP, you know? So it was a really good showing, of course. This final game, though, I think the most interesting part of it was the kills, of course, you know, because kills are all that matter in League of Legends, at least at the elo I play in. And the kills were going in BBZ's favor. They were making their use of it to make the tempo plays that they wanted to make. But at a certain point, the third dragon was what stuck out to me. You folks were like, hey, I think we have a Ziggs on our team. What if we used the Ziggs to deal damage to turrets and not to just scrap? And that ended up working out pretty well for you folks, I would say. And in the end, you know, Ziggs was able to come online. I know that's a Zen Zen special out of him. And at the end, I don't know what it ended up being, but when we looked late game, he was doing like 1,200 damage per ultimate. So, and I'm sure that caught Mizuza off guard with that top lane. He had to dodge Zen Zen's ultimate when he got ganked by him and leaves, and you know, that led to a end of the game wrap up for you folks as you're able to take one of their most potent carries off the map.
Yeah, the late game Ziggs, one just presses R on the Varus and he loses his entire health as shield bow's popped. He can't team fight anymore. And since he went first strike, the amount of gold that he was just printing once he got to his items, like to the first 3, was absurd. There was one team fight where he got 500 gold just from first strike in a team fight. It was absurd. So yeah, hypothetically, they might have gotten more kills than us. They had 23 and we had 22 by the end of the game. So we were still behind in kills by the end of the game. But we had first strike Heimerdinger and first strike Ziggs, and we were playing rotationally, right? We've got a Heimerdinger, we've got a Ziggs, and we've got Belveth passive to help us siege turrets and push, right? So we traded a lot of gold that doesn't show up on the scoreboard in kills and assists, right? So that sort of helped keep us even in gold, because gold was dead even that whole game. Pretty much. So
yeah.
Hey,
I mean,
that's extra sources of gold was really important for us to win that game.
I mean, that's the name of your team, right? That's that trickle down economics to Stonks Rising, and you just invested that money from the first strike both on your hands and Zen Zen, and you're able to, you know, come out with the dub in the end. So I think that about does it for talking about the series, but I do have one final question for you, and that is, who do you think you will end up facing in the next round? Do you think that you will be the choice for SLR, or are you going to match up against UB?
To be frank,
it's just between you and me, bro. It's just between you and me. No one's gonna hear this.
Nobody else is here. I don't know any of the players in this league. These were my first games. But UB makes me mad. So I'm gonna hope that they win so that we can crush them with more Heimerdinger first strike battle.
No. So after this, the SLR chooses who they play in the next round. It's a matter of who you think. Are you thinking SLR is going to pick our winners from Monday, who I'm blanking on the top of my head, or will SLR pick you, or are they going to leave UB and you two to face off? What do you think? I guess it sounds like you want to have the rumble against UB.
Well, I mean, it's either we fight UB next or in the finals, right? So
Oh, fair. There
doesn't
you
matter
go.
to me. If they want to lose to Heimerdinger immediately, or if they want to wait to the finals, that's up to them.
There you go. Well, Bob, this has been an excellent interview, a really awesome set of games. Congratulations to you. Welcome back, and congrats to TDE on this big win. Before we step away, I want to give you one final opportunity here on the desk for any final thoughts, any shout-outs, any banter.
Easy clap.
Hell yeah. That's one final thing I forgot to shout out. Good job of today is stepping in for this series. Really awesome matchup against Jaffe, who is of course one of our top laners in friend or foe. So tip the hat there as well, as we wish BBZ farewell and thank them for participating in Mythic. That's gonna be the end of their journey with us this season, but we'll see where those players shake out for the next season. So folks, that's going to be it for our quarterfinals this week. We'll be back next week with our semifinals matches. Stay tuned. Be keeping your eyes peeled to see what those matchups will be, who SLR will be picking, who will be up against UB, and we look forward to seeing those matches next week. So please join us Monday and Tuesday as we crack into our semifinals, and hopefully we'll get to see Bob Joseph bring the pain with the Heimer to the Heretics on UB. But until then, folks, we wish you a wonderful night or a good morning if you're on the East Coast and it is nearly 1 o'clock. So thanks for sticking with us. We'll see you next week and have a wonderful night.
Wow, 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 wow.